it's so weird. You're flying a Mexican flag.
Mm-hmm.
You're encouraging, violence against police officers, and then you're saying Donald Trump is not my president. Please don't deport me. Right?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Pastor and Wife podcast.
We welcome you to hang out with us today.
I'm Hansel.
I'm Natalie.
Okay, we are talking about, is it right for Christians to support illegal immigration?
My favorite subject.
I know. I can talk about this because
I ain't talking about stuff like this.
I know you hate it, but I'm a legal immigrant.
Correct. Yeah,
So-
I think this is great because you have personal experience and this is in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. And everybody's talking about right now about the LA riots, anti-ICE riots. And so it hits close to home,
Yeah.
So I want to say this is the Christians have to follow the laws of the land. So a lot of people don't know that I'm a legal immigrant. And when my parents brought me here, the process started before, I was born. And so they waited years.
Well, and you and your mom were in the Philippines. Your dad was over here apart
Yes.
for several years.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We were apart for several years, and he finally got us over, signed all the paperwork. Everything was good. And we all got naturalized as citizens, right? And that's the way we should do it. And so in short fashion, I say no. Christians should not support legal immigration.
Illegal.
Illegal, sorry.
Yes, yes.
Christians should not support illegal immigration because it makes other people second-class citizens. Why would you make someone go through a rigorous process and someone else not rigorous?
I mean, it should all be equal. We should have the same standard for everyone who wants to come over.
Yes. And that's the deal is because, people use the excuse, these people are leaving, harsh environments, harsh government. We have provisions for refugee status, but you have to prove that you're a refugee, right? I know a lot of people from Asia in war-torn countries that came over with refugee status, and it was all legal. If we're Christians and we're supposed to believe the Bible, and everybody says, well, Romans 13,
Right.
we have to obey the government, then this applies, right? And that's the thing. Some people say, well, if the government's evil, then you can resist the government. That's
Right.
true.
Yes.
In Acts 5, the disciples, the apostles resisted an evil government that did not allow them to preach Jesus. But this is not a gospel issue in terms of salvation or, who
True.
God favors. This is a political immigration status issue. And so we get the accusation of, you Christians are not compassionate.
Compassionate.
I'm wearing a compassion shirt right
Yes.
now because I want to say, well, I do think Christians should follow the law and not encourage law breaking.
Right.
Yeah. Now, illegal immigration is a misdemeanor on the first offense, punishable up to like 6 years. A second offense, which many of these people are, is a felony. So we can't encourage it. We cannot encourage it.
Yeah.
And so I want to be compassionate and go to the Bible. And the verses that are, touted are in Exodus and Leviticus.
Yeah.
And there's several, but I picked two of the most popular ones. Exodus 22:21 says, "You shall not wrong a sojourner or oppress him, for you were sojourners in the land of Egypt."
Right.
I believe that. I believe everything in the Bible.
Yes.
So when the word there is sojourner, do you know what sojourner is?
Well, like traveler or
Yeah.
What's the word? The societies who just kind of moved around and weren't settled and
Yeah.
I can't
Someone passing through.
Right.
Yeah. Nomadic.
Nomadic, yes. That's the word.
So sojourner technically is having a place of temporary residence. That's why sojourner. He's on a journey. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to stay with the Israelites, guess what happens? You would have to become an Israelite.
Reading through the Old Testament, you had to celebrate all of the festivals, and you had to obey Jewish law. Mm-hmm. This was just part of what they did. They weren't excluded from the law or the ways of the land.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree. That's what you had to do if you wanted to live in a land that was not your people's.
Yeah, you do what they do. You obey the same laws. Yeah. You're treated the same. The equality philosophy that we have in the West came from the Bible. Yeah.
And the Old Testament. Mm-hmm. So the next one is Leviticus 19:33 through 34. It says here, when a stranger sojourns, so other versions say when a foreigner sojourns or travels with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong.
Right.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You shall treat the stranger who sojourns with you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Mm-hmm. Amen. Amen. I'm not going to oppress someone because they come from a different land, because they're strange looking to me or strange acting to me. No, they're created in the image of God. Mm-hmm. Now, I have personal experience with this. My uncle, he did not fix his papers. Mm-hmm. And so when he went back to the Philippines, he couldn't come back.
Right.
And that's the deal. Like, I have to live with that. Do I want him here? Sure. Mm-hmm. I love him? Yes. Mm-hmm. Right? So when the sojourner's here, if I were to love my neighbor as myself, as that says, that's across the board, Old Testament, New Testament, love my neighbor as myself. What would I do? I would encourage the sojourner, the traveler, the foreigner, and say, hey, are you here temporarily, or you want to be an American? Mm-hmm. Because if you live in America, you are an American.
Right.
Not, someone from a foreign country, because that would be establishing a colony of your country of origin in another country.
Right.
You're a colonizer. You know what I'm saying? So what you would do is tell the people that you love, that are strangers in the land, that are foreigners, fix your papers.
Yeah, here's the law. Like, stay, but let's do this.
Yeah, let's just do it the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
And Christians get hung up on the compassion part. That would be the most compassionate thing to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know the inside baseball and the politics inside of here, inside of this issue, is that California, where we live, gets, more seats in the government, in the legislature, based on population.
Right. And we have a lot already.
Yeah. Not whether or not you're legal or illegal, just on population. Mm-hmm. So there's a political incentives to open the borders to anyone here in California, and that's what's happening. Yeah. And I guess how they vote.
Yeah, well, they'll vote for people helping them out and giving them money and, not requiring them to do, the lawful things.
Correct. So, and who pays for that? The taxpayers who are citizens.
The people who are citizens, yeah.
I keep hearing, illegal immigrants pay taxes too. I'm like, they're not supposed to.
No.
Because they're not a citizen. I guess they can, but there's, discrepancies in the law here in California based on politics, based on trying to get votes.
Yeah.
And so essentially the left is buying votes and using immigrants as their pawns. And I think that is so dastardly.
It is.
It's spitting in our faces. I'm an immigrant and I don't want to be coerced to vote for one side or the other. I can make up my own mind. I'm not stupid. Where what they do is they bring these people over, give them benefits, and like you said, on the taxpayer dime, and then all of a sudden, you have generations that only vote one way. You know, a high incentive to vote one way, you know, and not look into the issues at hand.
Yeah, well, and there's a loyalty there. Like, these people, you know, did this for us. They gave us all these benefits, and we, you know, and then they stay loyal for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I don't like that, because it's not about the person. It's about the elections. It's about power. It's about government lording itself over the people, immigrant or citizen, but both. Like, so what this is doing, I don't think this is a Christian thing, because it's causing division. If everyone enforced the law and you had to do it the right way, and there was strong enforcement for it, then there wouldn't be division, because there wouldn't be entitlement. There's entitlement here. You know, here in LA, we're seeing these riots now. They're not peaceful protests anymore. Once you start burning cars, once you start throwing rocks at law enforcement, once you start throwing Molotov cocktails. I just saw a video of by the donut place. I keep forgetting. You know, there's that donut shop with a big donut on it.
Yeah.
In LA. A guy shooting a pistol at police. And you're waving foreign flags while doing those things. No, that's not a good look.
It's not. And honestly, it's really sad, because these are not like your normal, average, everyday Mexican Americans that are like doing this stuff. And it's unfortunate. It looks bad.
Right. I mean, it's no secret that we're conservative. And we have many, many friends that are Mexican American. And they say, like, they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
They're embarrassed for their people, their family, and everybody else. And they don't want division in America. We could all live peaceably.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People live peaceably when they abide by the rules set on the land.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't think as a Christian this is a good thing. Supporting illegal immigration is bad, because if your goal is to get like your family over and relatives over, what's going to happen is, if you go beyond what is legal, the public outrage, and plus the violence on the streets, the public outrage is going to be so great. They might vote in a moratorium on immigration as a whole.
Yeah.
It's happened in the United States before, I believe, like in the earlier part of the century. And then there goes your chances for a better life for your family. And so it's just a big mess. The media has caused everyone to believe that if you don't support the riots, then you are not compassionate. You are not a Christian. You are not this. You know what? That's bearing false witness. This is accusations that are unfounded. No, most Christians are very compassionate to people who want to follow the law, be American here in the United States, and live a life. Like my dad, you know, he has a big house now, and he came from a farm in the Philippines, a poultry farm, really poor, and he did it. And I'm grateful to America.
Absolutely.
I'm just not entitled. I'm not, you know, I'm not demanding certain things that are that give me more rights than somebody else.
Right.
You know, because essentially that's what's happening here is people are getting benefits that other people don't get based on where they came from.
Right.
So, yeah, you know, we want to be compassionate. We want to help those who are in need. The best way is not to get them in legal trouble. Let them do it the right way.
Yeah.
All right. So is there a verse that supports our position?
Well, I would hope so. I think so.
Well, in Acts 17, this is Paul talking to the Areopagus, you know, the smart philosophers in Athens. And so he talks about the beginning of mankind and what happened. And so he mentions this this idea here, and I believe he's right. Acts 17:26, and he made from one man every nation of mankind to live all on the face of the earth, having determined and allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place. So, essentially what this is saying is that God determines the boundaries of nations.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Now people argue like, oh, that what a unjust God because some nations were conquered and this and that. Yes, that's true. They were conquered, but I don't think it's unjust because we don't see why God allows certain things. Mm-hmm. You know, for example, when we pray for someone to get healed and they don't get healed by God,
right?
We just say we don't know. We know he's kind and compassionate. We don't know.
Yeah.
And people go, see, told you, that's proof that God is capricious and doesn't care. No, a lot of people that we've prayed for have gotten healed.
Yeah.
So that blows that argument out of the water. When you don't pray for them, they get worse.
Well, nothing happened. So
yeah, nothing
what's
happened.
the good in that? I don't know.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. Like, we can't see what God sees. His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So when he allows certain countries to create borders, even through war, yeah, that's like the worst thing possible for us because we suffer through it. Mm-hmm. But we don't know if it's going to be worse if he didn't allow that.
Right.
You know, like we always talk about World War II and this and that. You know, was it wrong for the West to stop Hitler? Right? Like, and then new boundaries were made in Europe because of that.
Right.
Are you God? Can you see? You know, like.
Yeah. Well, there's this whole huge, like, view that God has. I mean, God isn't even within one time. He's in all time at the same time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have such a small speck of a view. There's no possible way that we can have the foresight to see, you know, what our actions do, what certain wars, the result of that, you know, all of that.
Yeah, we don't see it. So I think that preserving a border because it is the nation's right to sovereignly, I think is correct for Christians to back. I mean, think about this. I know Donald Trump's controversial, but we got to talk about him because everyone says it's his fault. The riots are his fault because he sent in the National Guard, you know, and I'm like, no, the police officers were being overwhelmed. So that's the natural procedure. Everything is legal. Federal judge just said so because Gavin Newsom tried to sue the Trump administration for something.
Well, I don't know when the National Guard became like dangerous and scary.
No,
I don't know.
They were just
there to help protect
federal buildings,
right?
Because that's what was being targeted. They're not going through the streets shooting people.
Yeah,
you know, they're not. So, anyways, going back to what I was saying, I mean, Donald Trump was elected not only by the Electoral College but by popular vote. Mm-hmm. So everybody knew his stance of immigration. You have to follow it.
Yeah.
You know, if Kamala Harris won, we would have had to follow her stance. Mm-hmm. But this is how you keep a nation civilized, is through the votes. Mm-hmm. You know, it's through the will of the people. Mm-hmm. If your side didn't win this time, maybe they'll win next time.
Yeah.
But for the next 4 years, Donald Trump's side is the one in charge, and we have to respect that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so weird. You're flying a Mexican flag. Mm-hmm. You're encouraging, you know, violence against police officers, and then you're saying Donald Trump is not my president. Please don't deport me. Right?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. If Mexico or whatever country you're from is way better than America because America's racist and fascist and all sorts of other things that you're saying, why stay here? Mm-hmm. The only logical reason why you're staying here and flying a foreign flag is because you want this country to not be America anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a foreign invasion. And once you start using violence to plant your flag,
Right.
it's seen as military action. So please don't do that. I think that's wrong. Now, if you win, then okay.
Yeah. Well, and I would hope that the same would go for like Mexico. If a bunch of Americans went to Mexico and they're like, started flying American flags and saying,
Yeah.
doing the same thing there and burning federal buildings and stuff, like, I would hope that wouldn't be allowed there either,
It's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Of course it's not.
not allowed. Nobody has done it, but if you go to another country, you'll be deported way faster if you do some of these antics than in the United States.
Yeah, well, that's the way it should be, because we are responsible for the country in which we have citizenship.
Yeah.
And this is our responsibility to keep everyone lawful, as I would hope every other country would do for their own country.
Correct. You guys know I did missions in China. If I told the Chinese government I was a missionary, I would have been deported immediately. You know what I mean? So I came as an English teacher, and I did teach English,
right?
But with the Bible. So hey, there you go. But that's the thing. It's like countries have laws, right? I guarantee you, if you do it in China, you would get arrested in a heartbeat. You take like a group of people, start throwing rocks at police. They might just shoot you.
Yeah.
Over there, America is so gracious that they're not using lethal force against people who's using lethal force, like a brick from a freeway overpass into a windshield.
You could definitely kill someone.
That's lethal force. So I'm glad I live in America because it is so merciful. And that's the thing. It's like we have to look at the perspectives correctly as Christians. Like, would God be happy with the antics of what's going on in LA? No, he wouldn't be. And why support that? And so, again, I have family that have come over illegally, but through the years they knew they could not have that status, because if they do anything wrong, they could get deported. So they respected that, and guess what they did? They became permanent residents. They became citizens, and guess what? They don't have to worry about that anymore. They can work. They can raise their families. They could do all sorts of things. Why? Because they are now a citizen of the United States of America. They are American.
Yeah, and I think it can get a little messy, and mistakes can be made. You know, people can be, I don't know. Innocent people could be deported. I don't know. I mean, of course, there are stories like that, and that's a travesty as well. This is not going to be like a perfect thing, but that's not to say that that we shouldn't have, that we shouldn't require people to do things the way, according to the law.
Correct. Yeah. So that's the deal. It's pretty cut and dry from our perspective, but I do want to say, like, if you have compassion for people here illegally, go and help them become citizens so that they wouldn't have problems in the future.
Yeah. And we know, man running for office who ran as a Republican, I believe, and well, I'm not going to say he was known for this, because I don't think people wanted this to get out, but he did help people, I mean, it's a process,
Yeah.
So he helped people who were here, without papers, illegally, whatever. He would help them in the process to become legal so that they could stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's totally fine.
That's great.
Again, like, I just don't want people to do it the wrong way and the rest of the country being fed up and causing a total moratorium on immigration, legal and illegal.
Yeah.
So I blame the media.
Yep.
I blame the media. The media is the number one incider of violence.
Oh, I agree with that.
The mayor here in LA, she's like, it's Donald Trump's fault for sending in, a force that incited the violence. And then our governor, Gavin Newsom, he said the same thing. It was Donald Trump's fault, whereas it was a local PD that needed help.
Yeah.
And all resources were exhausted because the violence escalated. And then boom. Then what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
The government's going to come and help. And so the media really perpetuated the anger and the bitterness against the American people. And so don't trust the media. The media lies all the time. The media, by the way, I believe is they're producing witchcraft.
Yeah.
Because they're causing people to believe something that is not true. They're controlling people.
Yeah, manipulation.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's the
major emotional manipulation.
Yeah, that's the major. That's the actual definition. Of witchcraft in the Bible is control and manipulation.
Yep.
So they are doing it because they have an agenda for a certain political party, the left. If you look at all these things, why are most of the media all on the same side is because they're all in collusion. Everybody knows that now. You can't escape it. And so we have to be smart. We have to say, hey, I can think on my own. Let me look at the facts on my own, apart from what the media is saying. I like to go to X because I see people's videos on the ground.
Yeah.
And you could decide for yourself what's going on.
Yep.
And so, again, we as Christians are supposed to love and be compassionate, treat foreigners as we would treat ourselves, help them. Sure, I'm all for helping someone get a job, helping someone to, find a place to live, but also helping someone not be an illegal.
Yeah.
Let them become a full-fledged citizen of the United States of America, wave the flag. That's what I did.
Yeah.
It's great. I think I would have never met you. We would never got married. Our kids wouldn't exist if America hadn't provided the opportunity to my parents.
And my great grandparents
came
over from Sicily and Norway,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's a great thing. And we all used to get along.
Yeah.
We were talking in the car the other day about how my experience was in college, and I had so many different types of friends, Mexican, Black, other Asians, even a couple of friends both named Muhammad, and we were just going to school, having fun as young people, getting drinks at the juice bar and stuff, and just it was awesome. Like nobody cared about like geopolitics. Maybe because we were young, but still there wasn't this, oh, you should be mad at white people because you were oppressed 200 years ago.
Right.
There wasn't any of that.
Yeah.
Oh, you should be mad at white people because they're not, they elected Donald Trump. And I'm like, no, the country as a whole elected Donald Trump. So it doesn't mean the country hates you.
Yeah.
It means that sometimes people get fed up when all they see is people breaking the law.
Yeah.
And so as Christians, we shouldn't support that. But we should support people that want to be American, want to have a nice life here. We should support that.
Yeah.
So pretty cut and dry. What do you think?
I think so. I think people disagree, but
yeah, I know. So many factors, guys.
It's okay. We could still like each other even if we disagree.
Yeah, I know.
It's fine.
That's how it was before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have people who are of the Muslim faith that we disagree, and it hits home because Jesus is Lord to me. To them, he's a prophet.
Right.
He didn't die on the cross; only appeared, but I can still be friends with him.
Right.
So.
Yep.
With that said, you guys, have compassion, love one another, love your neighbor as yourself, but also encourage people to follow the law.
Yep. Just like all across the board.
Yeah.
Like everyone should do.
That's right. So, all right, you guys. Well, that's it for today. And tune in next time as we talk about why it's good to be a father. And
right.
society needs fathers. You know, the LA riots are fatherless behavior. Anyways. Anyways, we love you all. We'll see you next week. Like and subscribe and check out the video YouTube is suggesting to you. All right. Love you all. Godspeed and God bless. Bye.
Bye.